Okay, we're going to continue with 10.4. We're just going to do examples 3 and examples 4, and then we're going to do questions. Remember, these questions won't be exactly the same as the examples, but you'll have to adapt your knowledge in different ways. Alright, so we're going to do the first example. Again, I'll read it out, and I've just taken down the key points on my board here. So the heights of people have standard deviation of 11.5, that taken down. It is required to estimate the mean height of the people with a 95% confidence to within plus or minus 0.4 centimeters. Okay, so I'll just put the centimeters there. So what sample size should you use? So we need to find n. Okay. So what you're saying here pretty much is that the formula that we use is x bar, the sample of the mean, plus 1.96 standard deviation over square root n. They're not worried about this. They haven't given us this. All they want to do is give us a sample size that will give us plus or minus 4. So it's only this part we're interested in. So this part has to be 0.4. So the 1.96 standard deviation over n, sample size, has to be 0.4. And that's all that's saying. So you just fill in what you know. I know the standard deviation. So it's 1.96 times 11.5 over the square root of n equals 0.4 centimeters. Just adjust that there for a second. So we just rearrange that. We'll get square root n is equal to 1.96 times 11.5 divided by 0.4. So square root n is equal to 56.35. So we square both sides, obviously. Square, and that will give us that n is equal to 3175.3. So we need at least 3176 sample size to give us that 0.4. Okay, so that's the sample size we need in order to give us a plus or minus 0.4 centimeters. Okay, I'm going to go on and do the second example. Again, slightly different. Not going to be exactly the same as the questions in the book, but just trying to give you as many different questions as we can. So, on the basis of the results obtained from a random sample of 100 men, I keep putting centimeters there, that's not, it's just 100 people, from a particular district, the 95% confidence interval for the mean height of the men in the district. So this is the mean height was found to be the interval between 177.22 and 179.18. Okay, from that sample. Now what we want to do is find the value of here. This is going to be nice and easy. And the standard deviations. They want that plus the standard deviation. So this, the way in the book they do it, they make it look a bit more complicated. To find this number, it's obviously going to be halfway between these, because all we ever do with this is add on or take away the same number. So I would literally just do on my calculator 177.22 plus 179.18 equals, divided by 2, press equals, SRD. So the mean from the sample is 178.2. They get that as well. They sort of do simultaneous equations. And then all we have to do is we have to find out what the standard deviation is. And the standard deviation is simply, we know that 1.96 that over square root n has to be what? Now, if x is 1.782, we know, like the last time, it was 0.4. But this, if this is here, we obviously added on something to get this. So either this or this. I would do 179.18 minus 1778.2 equals 0.98. Going to do so 179.18 minus 178.2 is 0.98. So this 178.2 has been added on 0.98 and taken away 0.98. The same way in the last question it was saying it was 0.4. So now we're just back to the same as we did before, except this time I think we know the number we do. So it's 196 standard deviation over the square root. It's 100 people, so a nice number, equals 0.98. This actually works out to be 10. So 1.96, well, we can actually go straight to standard deviation is equal to 0.98 multiplied by 10, because this is 10, divided by 1.96. The standard deviation works out to be 5. Okay, so I've done slightly different in the book. I'll just quickly go back over that 30 seconds. We knew that the mean was in between these two, so it must be halfway between these two, and that's how we found out the sample mean. Then to find the difference between this and this, or this and this, I just took them away to find that 0.98. So I know this plus minus 1.96 standard deviation over square root must be 0.98 like the last question, and I just rearrange it then to this time find standard deviation. The last time we were asked to find the sample size. Okay, so it's done a bit differently in the book, in the example in the book, but either way is fine. Okay, any questions again, please reply to this assignment.